Nothing about that night was normal. Nothing about that night was normal when I, a male, was 18 or 19 years old, a female friend from high school, and I relocated to Jacksonville, Florida. We settled into the heart of the city, just a few blocks away from the Blue Bridge in downtown. One night, my friend and I decided to get on some friend-making apps in an effort to meet some locals and establish a new social circle in the community. Most people on these platforms were either way outside our parameters for what an ideal friendship might have looked like to us, or they didn't seem to be genuinely seeking a strictly platonic relationship. Kick. After some time of searching around, we did find that there were individuals on there who seemed genuine and like they could potentially be a good match. He wasn't terribly far from where we were staying, maybe 20 minutes away. A little further than was ideal, but he seemed pretty chill. He didn't have a vehicle and said that he stayed with his parents. We made plans for me and my friend to go pick him up from his house later that same day and then come back to our place to have some drinks and shoot the shit. Nothing too crazy, no big plans, just wanted to unwind. She takes forever to get ready to go anywhere, so by the time we got to heading over to his place to pick him up, it was already nightfall. Which wasn't inherently a bad thing. I mean, we didn't have jobs or any other obligations at the time, so it didn't really matter. When we arrive at the address, it's like we were in a whole new town, like a whole new world almost. It was outside of the major parts of the city, but it was super weird because one minute the streets were well lit, and there were lots of people around and all that, to the next moment it being completely vacant. No people, no houses, not even streetlights. I missed the turn into his driveway the first time around because I literally could hardly see anything. I turned around and immediately my heart sank. The driveway was hardly a driveway. It barely stood out against the overgrowth of the land. The fence was all busted up and falling apart, and I couldn't see a house anywhere. I kept following the driveway, because on the maps we could see that the location he sent us was a bit away from the road. The driveway was long and took a sharp turn after about 500 feet. It was pitch black, and the gravel was basically non-existent at this point, and started to turn into more like a sludgy mud trap. So, I parked in the middle of the driveway and my friend and I were being casual and I eventually said, "Man, it's freaking dark out here." That apparently opened the floodgates because he just went on this long soliloquy, rambling about the situation, going in circles, and answering his own rhetorical questions, not pausing long enough for anyone else to speak. I started to pull back the way I came, and he eventually quieted down. It was silent for a second, and I think he caught on to what he was doing. We started talking about the city. Normal stuff you'd likely talk about when meeting someone new. He quickly cooled off and settled his nerves and relaxed, which was a huge relief. As we were chatting and head back, a gas light came on, so I parked at a pump, and both of them said that they needed to get something from inside. He hopped out and walked straight towards the door. My friend stepped out but turned back into the car, digging through her purse to get her wallet. We kind of started laughing because it was still funny how the initial interaction went down and we were both thinking it. Then out of nowhere, some group of middle-aged women start scream laughing and hollering at me and my friend in the car. I was confused at first, but then one of the women said, "Y'all wrong as hell." My friend turned around and said, "What?" The women kept laughing and pointing at the guy we'd been trying to meet. He hadn't made it inside yet, and the woman said, "How in the heck did you let this man out the house looking like that?" They were hysterical about his get-up, the weirdly fashioned clothing he had on. He didn't acknowledge them at all, but I could see from where I was how bright red his face was. It was super awkward and a little uncomfortable, but he kept going and went inside.